because when I was talking earlier today in our moment of gratitude about the fact that we should, if we're feeling heavy and if we're feeling like things aren't really going the way that we want them to go, we're stressed out about the ecology and then just the devastation of the environment and the devastation of people's physical health and their mental health and our social systems. The point of the quote was, you should be really proud of yourself for feeling that heaviness, because there's $1 trillion propaganda campaign that's designed to make you numb to all of it. And so the fact that you still feel is a victory. It's a huge win. And I feel like that quote is really applicable right now. This is a huge victory because Missouri, in many cases, as was Ohio, as was Kansas, ground zero in many ways for a lot of these reproductive justice efforts, or I should say the retrenchment in reproductive justice. And the fact that they, as you pointed out, they didn't just say we want abortion, but they added all of the other elements of the Black woman created and zhuzhed up framework for what reproductive justice looks like. Like that phrase didn't even exist until Black women gave meaning to it. To me, even though we rarely credit the Black women in the organizations that did the work, I know Sister Song was a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know the names of the people far
Loretta
better.
Ross, yep.
Yeah, say her name one more time so people
Loretta Ross.
Loretta, yes. So yeah, we are going to give credit to those names because often that gets lost. But this is the work that they began, I believe, decades ago.
In the 90s. In the 90s, it was because the reproductive rights movement was a primarily white-led middle-class movement, right? And there were a lot of concerns about Black women, Black people, people of color that just sort of got left by the wayside. When you talk about legalizing abortion without talking about increasing access to abortion, without talking about things like the Hyde Amendment, which was the only way Henry Hyde said that he could attack abortion was by, going after poor people. It's really critical that reproductive justice is a Black woman, Black person led movement. And so the fact that this framework that was developed because Black people felt sort of sidelined by the mainstream reproductive rights movement. The fact that they came together I think it was 1994, came together. Now here we are in 2025, and that framework is now being spread to pretty Republican conservative states. That is a real achievement. That is like just a real achievement that should be celebrated.
I think one of the things that makes me really happy about this moment as well, Imani, the fact that we are talking about this, because you and I, we had a different set of items to discuss. You're like, no, wait a minute. There's something much more. We got to focus on this. And I'm so glad you did, because we are Dr. Jason Johnson, who was on the show, friend of the show and the channel. He was on at the beginning of the Trump 2 administration. And one of the things he said was, we got to record our memories. We have to record what was happening and write down and solidify, codify the histories, because this administration is going to do a lot of work to erase the histories. And the fact that we are having this conversation right now, doing our effort to preserve this history. The fact that you wrote this amazing article about this, which we are going to tweet out. I think Donna's already tweeted it out, and Nubia, I'll drop it in the chat for you as well. The fact that we have people like you who have been highlighting this, and not just from a news perspective, but from an analysis perspective that says, yeah, this is really great that they did this, and able to tie it to the work of Black people. That to me feels like an extra win. And the win is a win, but this feels like the gravy, the whipped cream, the cherry on top in ways that I think are going to be sort of indicative as to how we move forward when it comes to remembering not just our contributions, but taking pride in the success that we have accomplished these things, and then using that as a platform that we can build on further. This is amazing.
Absolutely. And, I've always said, once Roe fell, I was like, you know what, that's fine. I mean, it wasn't fine, but Roe was always a floor, right? It was always a floor. And so now we can build something better. I kept saying we now have an opportunity to build something better. I may not see it in my lifetime, but I'm going to be on the front lines fighting to build something better. And so here we are. It's 3 years later, and we're starting to see movement in that direction, right? I mean, the fact that these restrictions are presumed invalid, because you and I are both lawyers, we know how things work when it comes to statutes that states pass. They're presumed constitutional. And then the person challenging has to come in and say, no, wait, it's not constitutional. And here's why. They flipped that script, right? Now it's presumed invalid, and you, state, have to prove to us why it's not. And by the way, you can't keep using all these junk scientists, which literally they are relying on junk scientists that courts, 3 other judges, including the 8th Circuit, said that this particular woman, Priscilla Coleman, who keeps saying that abortion causes mental health issues and suicide ideation, they called her incredible. They said that she was biased. They said that she was junk science. She had 2 of her studies on the connection between mental health and abortion retracted. why are they still using these junk science experts? It's because they don't have anything. And so the question becomes, and that's the question I'm going to be tackling probably pretty soon, is whether or not courts are going to allow these junk scientists to continue to propagate their bullshit, or whether they're going to look at what these amendments say and abide by them, by their plain language.
Because by the time two courts, including the Eighth Circuit, or multiple courts, including the Eighth Circuit, have said you are junk science, that's like RFK levels of bad. Like
Yes.
RFK, I feel like is setting a new standard for how bad someone can pretend and cosplay at science. That to me feels like she has reached the RFK levels of just pure, utter bullshit and awfulness. Imani, this is a thing that I want more of this. I like this. This is fun. I'm so glad that I'm so happy and proud of the people on the ground who did the work. I am proud of the Loretta Rosses and the people in this world who did the work decades ago, who had a vision, who knew that they might have said, I may not see it in my lifetime, but I'm going to do the work of implementing this. And that you're in that tradition. And I'm just grateful that you are a part of this space, because it allows us to really value the work that's being done in some really significant ways. For people who want to follow you, who want to support you, who want to listen to your podcast, Boom Lawyered, who want to donate to Rewired News Group, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, please listen to my podcast that I co-host with Jess Mason Pico. It's called Boom Lawyered. Please check out. We've got a lot of new great stuff on the website. You know, we've got a new executive director, a Black woman. The first time our organization's been led by a Black woman. That's amazing. I'm now on leadership. So we've got like a pretty Black women spearheaded organization. We've got non-binary people on staff. Like, we're a very diverse group of people, and we need your help, because there are a lot of places that don't want to fund the sort of journalism that we do. So if you want to donate, rewirenewsgroup.com/donate. We can use your support. If you see me posting stuff on Blue Sky, please share it, particularly when it's good news, because we need good news right now. And also check out our Instagram and our TikTok, Rewire News Group.